I got that. Hang on. We'll do the countdown. Yeah, it's the intro.
And a 5, and a 4, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special episode.
Hey, Lachie, I'm going to have to stop you there.
What?
This is a video, right?
Oh, shit.
Keep your head in the frame, my guy.
Wait, no, it's not a...
You can't just go, whoa!
You know what? Yeah, okay. Hang on. Fucking...
Hi, everybody!
Get it! Hey, everybody! Oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. I think we should do another countdown.
And a 5, and a 4, and a 3, and a 2, and a 1.
Righto. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special episode on the All Sports podcast. My name is Lachlan Turner.
And mine is Liam McDonald.
And on today's episode, it's going to be a short one, is going to be our first round mock draft of the AFL, or first round AFL mock draft. That's going to be coming up this Wednesday, starting at 7 o'clock. It goes for 2 days. Don't know why, which is why we're only doing round one, because there's only 20 picks and we are not going to be doing... Look, we can't guess what clubs are going to do with their 60th pick. I mean, for all we know, that's when they start passing on their picks. So that's why we're going to be doing only 20 picks. And we say 20 because, well, you'll find out why. So
hold on, just before we get started, an amendment that's 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Can't speak for all the time zones.
Yep. So if you're from South Australia, WA, what's another state that doesn't have? Oh, well,
Queensland.
Queensland, Northern Territory.
They're not a state, but
territory. But
carry on.
You get what I mean. Either way, let's just get started. So for the first pick, North Melbourne have that. Now, I don't have them necessarily bidding on anybody, not even Nick Dacos or Sam Darcy. So I'm going to go with, the South Australian product, James. Wait, is it James?
Jason, mate. It's Jason.
Jason Horne-Francis. Sorry, I am, by the way, I'm going through the rankings that they have on ESPN. .com.au.
ESPN have an AFL ranking?
Yeah, I just searched up AFL draft rankings and that's what came up. So, look, Jason Horne-Francis, he's an inside mid general forward. His height, 185 centimeters, 81 kilos. So he's pretty much a ready-made AFL player. They've got it. They say he plays like Toby Green. Well, look, if there were any questions on whether or not he should be the number one pick, he raised that in the senior sample preliminary final when he had something like 24 touches, kicked 3 goals, 3. Two of his points, by the way, hit the post. So really should have kicked 5. Some of his strengths, include, he applies a lot of defensive pressure. So, he's a really strong tackler, puts a lot of effort into, being a really good defensive player, which, in these days now, they're really hard to come by because there's not many players that value the defensive side of the game anymore. So I think, for this guy to be as good as he is and then to be a really good defensive player as a midfielder is, I think, quite good. What do you think? Do you reckon he deserves or should go number one?
Well, it depends on... I reckon that North Melbourne should just take a guy that they're going to 100% get with the number one pick and not pull an Adelaide of last year and the number one pick.
But you say, and you raise an interesting question. The bidding system, it's there to make things honest. So, like, if Adelaide were to pass on him, then that, in my mind, that would raise a few questions, because it's like, well, he was number one rated 18-year-old kid in the country. Why shouldn't Adelaide bid on him? You know, if that's the case, well, then the system's flawed. Like, the entire bidding system's flawed, which is, you know, and by the way, going on topic, but like Holland Francis, you know, they say he plays like Toby Green. I've heard Dangerfield as well. So, you know, I think, you know, I think he has the ability to just, you know, step right in and, you know, have an instant impact on that team. Not necessarily, well, maybe football, but definitely on that club. You know, that club is young, rebuilding. You know, they've already got, you know, Josh Sinkin, Karen Thomas, you know, and then, you know, you mix that in with, you know, Ben Cunnington. You know, unfortunately, some of the stuff that's happened with him is pretty unfortunate, but, you know, he's the experienced campaigner there.
Greenwood from Gold Coast, they got him.
Greenwood, I don't know what Gold Coast were doing, but they're just a joke at the moment. So,
so North Melbourne, Jason Horne-Francis, pick one.
Have you written that down?
No, Lachie, I've just been sitting here listening to you talk the whole time, doing nothing of my own.
Okay, so you have written it down. But some of his weaknesses include, you know, inconsistent production, inconsistency of impact offensively, and here's the big one. And I know you're going to roll your eyes when I say this: inconsistent kick. That's what they've got here. So, you know, that's something that, you know, players can work on. You know, they're kicking and, you know, impacting a game offensively, but it's still very good to see that a potential number one pick, a midfielder, rates the defensive stuff more than he does the offensive stuff.
I reckon he should get the number one pick just for his birthday. I just looked, and his birthday is the 21st of June. That is a great day, if I do say so myself.
Yes, you are allowed to say that. Oh, shut up. So the second pick. Now, the Giants have that pick, but, well, who do you reckon they should? Do you reckon they should actually pick a player, or more like they should possibly make a bid? Now, I will throw in my early 2 cents worth here. I think they should bid.
They need a big, don't they?
Well, again, you've got to bid, you know, you got to, you know, with I know that this bidding system is going to, you know, upset a lot of teams, but you just got to, you know, you bid on a player if you think he is worth that pick. And who do you reckon they should bid on? Like, I think Nick Dacos. They should bid on Nick.
I reckon they should probably go for Darcy.
You know, look, and here's a spoiler. I actually have the Giants bidding on Sam Darcy with pick 3. So,
okay. So it's just whether you rate Dacos or Darcy higher.
Yeah, well, at the moment, I think Dacos probably ranks just that bit higher, because, I mean, you know, he accumulates a lot of the ball. He's really composed in traffic, and, you know, his decision making under pressures, you know, that's considered a strength. So, and, you know, he's a balanced mid, general forward. You know, he's a mid, you know, a medium size. Or would you classify 183 centimeters as a medium size, or a bit of a smaller player?
I know. I reckon 183 is probably on the smaller side.
Smaller side, okay. It was a small mid, which, you know, that necessarily won't hurt Collingwood, because, you know, they already have, you know, a couple of those biggish midfielders there. So Dacos, you know, there will definitely help. But so, I mean, look, I've got Dacos at 2.
So Dacos,
what do you
2,
think?
Darcy 3.
Yeah, and then that's when the Giants will then also bid on. Now, this is a need for the Giants as well, so this one makes sense. Sam Darcy, look. Oh, hang on, just give me one moment. Dan Darcy, yeah, he's obviously he's a son of Bulldogs great Luke Darcy, key forward. He's about 205 centimeters, 93 kilos. He's a really good contested marker. He has the long arms, the ability to take, those high kicks at the tallest point, which is, what you really, want. He reads the ball really well. He protects the drop zone of a marking contest, which is also what you need. Again, as I said, this is, making the system look honest, and, it's making the system look honest. And, it's a need for the Giants. They do need, they need now taller players, with the fact that, Shane Mumford's gone and now Finlayson is gone, which I found very interesting considering they lost Jeremy Cameron in the offseason and they probably need those all the tall forwards they can get. But I just, I think, it makes sense for the Giants to bid on Darcy.
Hey, so Darcy to the Doggies with pick 3? Well, because we imagine they're going to match that. There's no way they're going to let a third generation player go.
It's the same with Collingwood. They'll match the Dacos bid, obviously. Now, the 4th pick, this is where I think things get interesting because they need a ruckman, yes?
Well, Mumford's gone, and who do they have? Matt Flynn or whatever?
Matt Flynn, Braden Bruce, which I actually completely forgot that he was on that list, or still at the Giants until
he got injured, didn't he?
He got injured, and then they have, I think his name's Kieran Briggs, I think. Somebody Briggs, K Briggs. So they need a ruckman. Now, the best ruckman in this draft is Mac Andrews, sorry. So, but the thing is, though, the reason why it's interesting is because, one, the Giants really don't like picking ruckman early in the draft. I mean, that they didn't do it with Brody Grundy back in 2012, and they kind of paid the price for that. They ended up picking Aiden Core and somebody else with pick 12, and then they ended up picking with picks 2 and 3. They pick 2, they picked Jonathan O'Rourke, and pick 3, they picked Lachie Plowman, who obviously both left. I can't quite remember who they picked. I'm pretty sure they had pick 12. I don't recall who they picked up then, but pick 14, they picked up Aiden Core. So you feel like the Giants missed out on a generational ruckman there. Now, the thing is
pick 4 too early to pick Andrew?
Not that, but there is a young kid by the name of Finn Callahan from the Sandringham Dragons who was just taking everybody by storm. Now, the expectation is if the Giants do picking, because the Giants have another pick in the first round, they'll pick up his best mate. Now, I will do some of the research and find out who that is down at the Sandringham Dragons. But I think for the Giants, look, in my honest opinion, look, and Finn Callahan, he's a tall mid. He's a balanced mid, 191 centimeters, 86 kilos. He can play day one. He really could. And he has, the space and time in in traffic, his evasive skills is pretty good. But I think for the Giants, what is pick 4 too early to look at your needs, or is that where you just pick the best available player? Because look, in my opinion, they already have some good young midfielders on that team already. Why pick another one when you're going to play him forward or half back? I don't see the point in that.
Well, because that's the thing. Well, everybody needs a good half back, and if you've got a half back that will eventually go into the midfield, then because let's be honest, their stars are starting to get on. Like, I know it's a bit harsh, but because the Giants have been around for a while.
Yeah, no, look, I know that. Look, there's no way they'll drop Cornelio. He's on too much money for them to drop. Tom Green probably, in my opinion, should have won the Rising Star. He had more of an impact as a younger player. Tim Taranto is still young, and Jacob Hopper is pretty good. That, to me, that's the starting mid. the 3 or 4 guys in the middle that start for the Giants. So
I still reckon you should take like a Finn Callahan over a Mac Andrew.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Plus, because we know there are clubs. Adelaide's really keen on him. Richmond were very keen on him before he just started rocketing up in the calculations. So, and he's a very good player. So, his work rate, endurance. You got to take players like this in the draft.
So pick 4 Giants, Finn Callahan.
Yes, that is exactly what we're going with there. Now the Gold Coast Suns.
Talent. They need talent, and they need to not get rid of it.
No, not just that. They've got these young kids there, but they just need. I just don't think they're being well run at the club. You can't tell me, with all the hype that was around Matt Rao, Noah Anderson, Ben King, Isaac Rankin, and Jack Lukosius, you can't tell me that's not enough. And then Elijah Holland, who was their first pick last year, missed out this year with an ACL injury that he did the year before. He's still yet to play, and he's another mid. And you look at what they probably need. Well, again, who rucked for them after Jared Witts got injured? I actually don't recall. I think it was Zach Smith. I know he did.
Didn't he get injured as well?
He got injured, but I'm just trying. I can't.
Was he using like a backman in the ruck at one point?
Yeah, that they may have done that. I'm thinking in my look. This one's really tough to pick because they've got whatever Gold Coast do, it's just going to upset a few teams above them. So it's really hard. Hey, I'll have a look at the Gold Coast team and see who rucks for them because I genuinely don't. But either way, they kind of fill that void because they got Marby Chol. So, and the player that ESPN have going at number 5, which is what Gold Coast would have, is Josh Ward, who's a balanced midfielder. I don't think that's who they need at the moment.
Do we think that Gold Coast are going to swing for the fences and go for Andrew at their pick?
No, I don't think they, because they just picked up Marby Chol and played the ruck forward. I'm thinking they could go with there's a couple of options. They need another big-bodied mid now. You'd have to say, wouldn't you? Now that Hugh Greenwood's gone.
So that's like who we got?
Well, you'd want at least a medium-sized tall mid. Not as tall, maybe not as tall as what Hugh Greenwood was, but a tall. The one that I'm thinking of is Neil Erasmus from Subiaco. He's about 190 centimetres, 82 kilos. His aerial marking is pretty good. His intercept marking is also very good. But here's the thing, and I know that doesn't sound like a mid. His attack on the ball is really good at contested ball winner, first possession winner at stoppages, and the consistency, his rate of improvement, and his scoreboard impact. Now, he's not that quick, and he's an inconsistent kick, but I feel like that's maybe somebody that the Suns should seriously consider looking at. What do you reckon?
So you reckon they go further down, or slightly further down, like I guess like the talent ranks or whatever, and go with something that probably suits their team a bit more than one of the smaller mids? Yes,
that's exactly what I'm thinking. Because we've seen with a few clubs, every club needs to have at least one big-bodied midfielder. Now, Matt Rao he looks big, but he's not that tall. And you don't want to throw in Lukosius as well. Realistically, I think they're playing him out of position. He dominated as a forward, and they're playing him as a wingman halfback now. I know he's doing really well in that role, but look, we don't make the team or set the team a certain way. It's on them. So I'm thinking they go with Neil Erasmus from Subiaco. They probably won't pick him, but that's just what
that's what you would do.
Would you do something similar? They lost a big body midfielder. Would you not go to the draft, and if it feels right, would you just pick a big body midfielder?
I don't know, because 5 is kind of still best player available territory.
Well, so his rate of improvement was pretty good. The only issues they've named here is his kicking.
Well, that's a pretty big issue. It's like,
he's improved more than half the
way you bang on about kicking.
Yeah, I know, but look. Well, then that, in all fairness, then Jared Lyons and Hugh McCluggage should be getting the game because they're awful kicks.
Hey, that's harsh. Now, I'm fine going with Erasmus at 5.
Now, with Adelaide, I'm pretty sure Adelaide is next. Yep. They have said they wanted an X Factor player. Now, again, they could go Josh Ward, but I don't necessarily think he's that X Factor player. The one player that I do think would be really good for them is now they have this man. Just give me one. They have this man at 10. However, they have said they wanted an X Factor-ish type of player, and he's a small player, so this won't hurt. Josh Rachel from the Murray Bush Rangers. Hang on, just give me one moment. He has, his kick play, first possession winning out at stoppages, explosive speed, really great agility, a really good leap, that best in class level perception or precision kick with hurt factor. So this is one of those guys that, I tend to think of more guys like, Sirioli, where, you wouldn't necessarily think, he wouldn't have to get, 30 touches to hurt you. He could get 10 touches and seriously be best on ground. And he had probably 3 or 4 games where he did that, where he only picked up, 10 touches, but he still...
Every single one of those 10 touches absolutely hurt you.
Yeah, exactly right. So I'm thinking they go with Josh Rachel. I think that's a no-brainer for me. Would you be on me with that? As that X Factor player, and Adelaide saying that they want an X Factor-ish type of player.
That's probably what they need, isn't it? They need that X Factor player because they've already got guys that'll get the ball.
Yeah, that's right. So now Hawthorn is next. And in my honest opinion, I think they have to, and this player literally sounds like a Hawthorn type of player, the way he plays, he's the best pure inside midfielder, tough and whatnot. And that's Ben Hobbs from Greater Western Victoria. 183 centimetres, 80 kilos. Might not play straight away, or could, but he just sounds like a Hawthorn player to me. I think, he'd complement some of those guys well, contested ball winning, tackling, pressure and application defensively, distribution by hand, reading the ball and fly, overhead marking. His production's just up there. This is probably another.
So you'd probably call him Tom Mitchell if Tom Mitchell played defense.
Yep. Effectively Tom Mitchell. And apparently his game is AFL ready. So
not bad. 6'7".
He is literally Tom Mitchell because that limited time and space and traffic, limited hurt factor by foot, lack of speed. That sounds exactly like Tom Mitchell.
And so Hawthorn take Ben Hobbs?
Ben Hobbs. That's what I've got. So,
I'm not going to fight you on that. So,
is there a specific reason as to why you won't fight me on that?
Well, he seems like the perfect Hawthorn player.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So
who am I to fight destiny and fate?
Oh, I see. Okay. I see what you're doing there. So the next pick is the first of Fremantle's top 10 picks. Now, is there really a need that they have, or do you reckon they just go with the best available player?
Probably a midfielder.
Well, if that's the case, then, Josh Ward, ESPN had him ranked at number 5, but with a midfielder, height, he's 183 centimeters, 79 kilos. His skills are very good. His vision's very good. Composure, decision making under pressure is very good. He's from the Northern Knights as well. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with the first of their 2 picks, because whatever they do, Richmond are going to be like, well,
do they need a defender at all?
They might need a tall defender at some point.
Because they could go with Josh Gibcus.
Josh Gibcus. Well, we might have to wait and see what the other 2 teams do before that. Now, what's more of a need for them at the moment? Would you say defender or midfielder? I mean, I'm happy to go with Josh Gibcus.
I suppose it depends on how they're feeling on the day, if they're in the gambling sort of mood.
I think what do you reckon they want to do? Do you reckon they want to play a safe one where they can probably get a midfielder where they're going to succeed, or would you go for a tall defender who could be a hit and miss at this stage in the draft?
Well, let's be honest, that you're probably more likely to find a good midfielder late than you are to find well, actually that's a bit harsh on lower end forwards and defenders, but you're probably more likely to find like a guy who can play in the midfield later than you are to find.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. Well, yeah, I mean,
well, okay, so before you say it, so who do you have in mind? Do you think that they take the midfielder now, or do you think they take the big now?
Let's see. Who are their tall defenders at the moment? They've got Hamlin, who can't stay on the park. They've got
Pierce.
Griffin. Yeah, Alex Pierce. He can't stay on the park either. Oh, that's good. Your 2 best tall defenders can't stay on the park. How good. Griffin Logue, but he has not lived up to his expectation at all. He rocketed up during the draft combine and has just done bugger all. Bit harsh on that. But I think Josh Tracy, Tracky, that might be it. And they do have Heath Chapman. So, I think, look, and it didn't hurt the Bombers, drafting, tall players early in the draft. So, you know what?
We're going with Josh.
Josh Gibcus, which is going to actually hurt St Kilda, because I probably may have actually gone with him taking or going there. So with Richmond now, I think this one's a bit of a no-brainer. They lost Coleman Jones, they lost Marby Chol, and Curvers can't stay fit or struggle. Soldo's come out from their recode. They have to go back Andrew. It just makes sense. It makes sense.
All their tall players have been pilfered.
Yep. It's seriously that I can't think of another player. So at this stage.
Well, they could go like a Ward because he's still on the board.
Yeah, but I think I think with Mac Andrew, if he has the potential to be somebody like Nick, I think he'd be willing to wait.
So Richmond take the ruckman?
Richmond do take the ruckman, yes. Now, we're back to Freo. This is going to be interesting. So, I think they go with Josh Ward. Now they took their tall defender. They've
had their gamble, and now it's paid off.
It's paid off. So I reckon they go with Josh Ward.
I'm happy with that. No questions asked. Just go with Joshy Ward.
Yeah, Josh Ward. Now the next team, and this is where I say St Kilda hated that pick. St Kilda. I don't know what. I actually don't know what they're doing. I don't know what their plan is. They needed a tall defender, but Gidkus said goodbye and packed his bags off to the good old WA. Freo Hevo. He's St Kilda, the old Hevo. Now,
yeah, because it was so his choice.
Ruck. Yeah.
There's no
it was 100% his choice. I don't know what you're talking. Yeah. Yeah. A fair comment. That's a fair comment. Now, they don't need any more mids. If they take a midfielder, I think the person who does their drafting needs to get sacked. They don't need any more mids. That's no doubt. The defense, somebody that they could go with, but look, ESPN have this guy ranked at 9, but his projected draft range is 20 to 50 years. Leek Ella from the Central Districts, I don't think he would be considered. Oh, well, no, he might be considered, but I don't think he'd be the player that they would want. Literally, I don't know who else they should go. Like, really, I mean, they could.
Jaya miss. They could go with a forward.
They don't need a forward though. They've got Max King, and Tim Embry's not going to just piss off. So
they could go with Wanganeen Milra.
Well, see, I think that would be a very good suggestion. I was actually just about to suggest that because, look, St Kilda's sides have not been very good kicks, and he's considered to be the best kick in the draft. He's an outside midfielder, general defence. So kind of, he's 188 centimetres. He's from Glenelg, plays like Shane Edwards, and he's the nephew of Gavin Wanganeen, a football legend. So I would 100% agree with you on that. I think they have to go with and then it is a need for them. They need somebody that kicks well. Brad Hill.
We'll go with Wanganeen Milra.
Milra, yep. Now,
8.5.
Now the next team is West Coast. I purely think they go with the young man from WA. I think in the grand final curtain raiser, he was awarded best on ground. That's that Matthew Johnson. He's the halfback, tall halfback flanker. They've already got Alex Witherspoon, who's that young player that they were able to get from Brisbane. Shannon Hearn's about to retire. And I don't think Jackson Nelson's a much good or much better. So there's no harm in going with Matthew Johnson. I think the halfback positions is a position that they need to address. The only issue is if they draft him, their defence is going to be very tall. But do you reckon they'd be willing to risk it?
Don't you think that they might also consider Jaya miss, considering Kennedy's getting on and Darling is as inconsistent as ever?
Oh, look, they could go with Jaya miss, but look, they I could have gone. Probably should have considered that. Look, it's I'm happy going with a miss. They've already got Oscar Allen as a forward, and now Jai Miss. That's your forward line set.
Yeah, Kennedy's not getting any younger.
Yep. So we're going with Jai Miss.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
All right. That's definitely pissed off the next club, I could tell you that much. Because the club that has this next selection is Essendon. So they would have wanted a miss. They need a key forward, but they have reportedly gotten so keen on Kane Baldwin. They love him at Essendon. So there's only really two positions that they need to address. Small forward and a big inside mid. Now, Matthew Johnson from WA could be that player, but I think he's more of a halfback flanker. The other player that could potentially fall down to us, the Essendon Football Club is
Lachie. Come on.
Well, look, just give me one moment. I'm trying to find his name. I've also heard Darcy Wilmot, but he's a small midfielder, and the only reason why his name was thrown up is because he said that he'd like to play with his best mate Nick Cox. But I'm not too keen on a small midfielder. They've got way too many of those. Just give me one moment. Look, they could go Arlo Draper, who's that utility, but I don't necessarily think, because he's a utility, I don't think that would be good for them to do.
They could go with a Josh Gota.
That's who I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find.
Well, he's at 18 on the AFL one.
Oh, that's right. Oh, actually, I could probably just use that. I've been using the ESPN one. Josh Gota. What's his height? Could you just read out
190. He's 190, 79 kilos.
And let me guess, they say he's a mid?
Yeah, midfielder. And he's athletically gifted. Some see him as a tall midfield or a wing. Others see him as a halfback.
See, I think with the Bombers, with the way they play, they would probably use that as him as a tall mid.
Imagine how tall their midfield could be with Cox and Gota in it.
Oh, don't forget Stringer and Langford. I mean, they both kind of swap from time to time. So, yeah, I'm happy with Josh Gota. I mean, as an Essendon supporter, I'm complaining. But I swear, on Wednesday night, if they select a small mid, you better catch him up face. I'm going to put a hole in this bloody wall because I will not be happy.
So we're going with Josh Gota?
Josh Gota. Go with, please. Who's got the next pick? Oh, geez, Port Adelaide. Well, they're an interesting fit. So they missed out on a ruckman. And it's kind of like, well, they kind of need one there, don't they?
Is there another ruckman tip to go this high?
Well, see, now my laptop's been a bit silly. Now I can't actually see the players' names. Hang on. I literally cannot see any of the players' names. Well, see, I mean, what do they really need? I mean, they kind of address their tall forward. Well, their forward kind of whatever issue they thought they had. They
need a halfback. They could go with someone like a Josh Sin.
Josh Sin or Matthew Johnson.
Yeah, they could go one of those two because, well.
Okay. Well, look, I think Sin. I mean, he's a smaller type of player.
186, 73 kilos.
I think that suits. Yeah, that sounds like something.
He's listed as a halfback / midfielder, so he's
Yeah.
probably more a halfback than he is a.
Yeah. No, look, I think you're good to go there. I reckon just go with him. Now, Giants.
There's a few Joshes in this draft. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Joshes.
Yep. So, with the Giants now, what do? They have actually missed out on some things.
Well, they got their midfielder earlier, so they probably are looking for a taller player now.
And I don't think there's many good tall players left. Well, especially that are worth the pick that they have.
They could go with Matthew Johnson. Well, he's taller and he can play off halfback if they really wanted him to.
No, they don't need a halfback flanker. They don't. I will tell you who I think.
Do you remember off the top of your head? They could go with a Jacob Van Rooyen.
What type of a player is he?
A forward defender, 193. Listed as perhaps the leading swingman of the draft.
See, I think the last time they tried to pick a swingman was that Aiden Core, but they literally just played him as a defender, and it kind of screwed them a bit. So, yeah, that could work. Or I could go Blake Howes, but I mean that's a reach. Fox Footy have him at pick 22.
AFL have him at 24. Though this isn't actually what I'm looking at isn't like a mock draft where they've said what team's going to pick him. It's like a power ranking sort of thing.
Yeah. That's what I've got here. They've got Michito Owens. I think I said that right. Midfielder forward, 190, 85. I don't. Otherwise, it's.
If you're going to go for someone like Owens, wouldn't they just go with Johnson?
Yeah, look, I reckon Jacob Van Rowan, he, if, from WA, obviously they could be a bit nervous in 2 years' time when they find out that he wants to leave. But, yeah, I think, Jacob Van Rowan could be.
We happy with that? We think that they might do that instead of going with Johnson?
Yep. I'm happy with that. Now, the next pick is Brisbane. This is the club I think will take Johnson. Halfback flanker. Brisbane need halfback flankers. Birchall's retired. Rich isn't getting any older. Younger.
He is getting older. Thank you for reminding me.
Yep. So it just seems too perfect. He's the perfect fit for Brisbane.
Well, there's not really any reason to pass him up unless they decide they really want.
Or something dramatically happens and, somebody like Finn Callahan just slips all the way down to 14 or 16. That's not going to happen.
Unless they decide they really want a Darcy Wilmot, who's an actual defender.
Yeah. No, I think Johnson.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Well, where is he? Oh, where are you? I've been scrolling past you for 15 minutes now. I can't find you. Thank you.
Then there's Richmond. Now, this is where I think they might need to look at another midfielder.
So who's still there? It's
Arlo Draper.
Tyler Sonsi.
Campbell Chesser. Look, they could go with numerous midfielders here. But because let's be honest, they need to get some more mids. like, would you say they want somebody with size, or would you say they want somebody that's quick and a little bit more shorter?
I don't know. They'd probably want quick.
Quick, okay. Well, if they want somebody that's a little bit quicker, then they'd want to go with somebody that's like Zach Taylor. 180 centimetres, 74 kilos. Plays like Jai Simpkin. So I think Zach Taylor is the guy that they could want.
They could.
Yeah, Sydney.
So wait, what's his name? Zach Taylor.
Yes. Now the Swans. Now it's hard to find an actual, need for the Swans. I mean,
they need their young guys to develop, and then.
Well, they have developed because they made finals when nobody expected them to.
Yeah,
so,
but even more developed, and they could, I don't know, be a smoky for the big dance this year.
You could be right there. Oh, look, I'm thinking they could go draft Arlo Draper because, look, I mean, their midfield's getting a little bit older. I know they've injected some youth in there, but I mean, look, it wouldn't help to get like a tallerish midfielder in there.
Yeah, I could go with like a Sam Butler.
Yeah, I saw Zach Butler. I mean, Darcy Wilmot still.
Do they need a defender?
I think pretty much.
Because they could also go with like a Campbell Chesser.
I wouldn't say a defender, no. Well, they do value their defenders, so I reckon Chesser.
Campbell Chesser?
Yep.
Hey, Sydney. So who's next?
Now, Melbourne. Now, this is going to be interesting. They're just going to pick the best available player there, and the best available player is Darcy Wilmot.
Well, the AFL one's got Arlo Draper and Tyler Sonsi ahead of Wilmot.
On here, Wilmot's, Tyler Sonsi. Yeah, but they don't need any midfielders. They literally picked up and discarded St Kilda midfielder. They don't need another midfielder. And I know they're going for the best available player, but I mean,
so Darcy Wilmot as a defender.
Yep.
All right.
And then the Lions.
Bit filthy. They probably missed out on Wilmot, but
yeah, they could be a bit filthy. I could go with a medium-sized forward. I'm thinking Sam Butler, forward mid. But I don't know. Zach Bailey's just too good. You can't. If you have one bloke that can get, guaranteed 20 touches and like a goal or two a game, you'd be happy with that.
And you'd also have to think that Sam Butler would probably end up behind like Cockatoo and Kitty Coleman and Callum Archie.
I reckon Butler, looking at some of the stuff here, I reckon he'd be ahead of Cockatoo based on the fact that, I mean, at the moment, he's durable and I don't think Cockatoo's that good of a player anyway. And who was the last player you just said there?
Callum Archie.
Well,
Archie played at both ends of the ground this season.
Well, they tried him at halfback and stuff happened. So, look, they could go Butler. They could go Tyler Sonsi, who's still there. I mean, I don't think they would go Tyler Sonsi, though, because they've got some young midfielders there.
I'm all right
already.
going with like a Sam Butler. You can never have too many forward options.
Sam Butler. I mean, they could go with Blake Howes, a medium-sized forward. And, tall, like the taller type of players seem to be kind of thin at Brisbane, especially when it comes to the forward line. They can afford to wait.
So like a Blake Howes instead of a Sam Butler.
Yeah, I reckon Blake Howes. That's actually going to piss off St Kilda as well because he's the academy kid. You can match bids past pick 20. And they that's no pick 20, sorry. That's quite rough.
So we're going to go with Blake Howes as pick 20?
Yeah, we will piss St Kilda off.
We seem to have done that with every pick we've made.
What, just piss off the club?
Yeah, because you said piss off St Kilda like 3 times throughout this.
Yep. No, I've said, well, the Bombers would be a bit peeved that they missed out on a miss. But
okay, so that's 20 picks done.
All right. Do you want to read out who we had as being taken in the first round?
Okay, so pick 1, North Melbourne take Jason Horne-Francis. And with pick 2, we have Collingwood matching a bid for Nick Dacos.
Yep.
With pick 3, we have the Doggies matching a bid for Sam Darcy.
Yes.
Pick 4, we have GWS finally taking a player and picking Finn Callaghan. Then we have pick 5, Gold Coast taking Neil Erasmus. Pick 6, we have Adelaide taking Josh Rachel. At 7, we have Hawthorn taking Ben Hobbs.
Yep.
At 8, we have Fremantle taking Josh Gibcus. 9, Richmond take Mac Andrew. 10, Fremantle take Josh Ward. At 11, St Kilda take Nazaya Wanganeen Millera. That is a name and a half. I can't wait till BT has to say that one.
Yeah.
At 12, West Coast take Jaya Miss.
Freaks.
13, Essendon take Josh Gota. I hope it's Gota. It's not like, I don't know how else you would say that. But at 14, Port Adelaide take Josh Sin. At 15, the Giants take Jacob Van Rooyen. At 16, the Lions take Matthew Johnson. At 17, Richmond take Zach Taylor. At 18, Sydney take Campbell Chesser. At 19, Melbourne take Darcy Wilmot. And at 20, the Lions take Blake Howes.
Yeah, look, to everybody that's either going to watch or listen to the whole thing, that is not probably what's going to end up happening. This is just who we think or what we think the club should do. And if you don't agree with us, well, then tell us who you think.
You're entitled to your opinion?
Yep. Thought I was going to say something else then. And no, I'm not going to make any threats. People are entitled to their own opinion. So that's that. Tomorrow we'll be back for the rest of the draft. No, I said we're only going to be doing 1 round. And yes, you are looking at me like you want to kill me right now.
Am I?
But
that's news to me.
Oh,
you just thought I would.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Look, I don't like the way you just said that, so I assume you want to do kill me. But look, anyway, let's just stop talking about that. Thank you for listening to this very, very special episode on the All Sports Podcast. Now, don't forget to follow and like our Facebook page, which is All Sports Podcast, and our Instagram page is
All Sports 2021.
That is correct.
Why are you
Please
putting me on the spot like that,
we-
Lachie?
would lie. Look, look. Very much. I just want to smash my head against the wall. No, look, people deserve to talk rather than just me. So, as much as I do like hearing the sound of my own voice,
I love the sound of your angelic voice, Lachie.
Hey,
That's a compliment. Why are you going, hey?
Wait,
Like I just insulted your honor.
was
I called your voice angelic. You know, as in like angels.
oh. Yeah, no.
But
you're
yes,
joking.
so
Nah,
we're
shut
all
up.
finishing up with uni and stuff at the moment, like in the next week. So hopefully we'll actually be, posting stuff.
Or even better, might have an episode out later this week.
Hey, calm down.
Oh, and don't forget, we will be live streaming the draft. Obviously, due to unfortunately there are these things called rights, so we can't actually show you the draft. You'll only be able to see our reactions.
Yeah,
Look, if it was up,
Luckie's lovely face.
Look, I'd love for you guys to watch it with us, but unfortunately, if we show the footage, we could get into a fair bit of.
know if we'll get in trouble, but I imagine we would get in trouble. I haven't actually.
Look, I think that's where we can just say that, we just didn't know.
You know, Lachie,
And it went under the carpet.
you're talking currently on like YouTube right now.
Oh, yes. Mate,
You want me to cut this bit out, huh?
Yes, you might need to cut that video. But anyway, look, you all better listen to the end of this, or I'm going to find out who's listening to this. I'm going to fucking hurt you if you didn't listen to the end of it, or to the end.
You know, I'm going to leave that in because I don't think anyone's going to watch it to the end.
No, don't leave that. Please don't. I'm actually begging you not to add that in.
Oh, you just have to trust me then, won't you?
Oh, shit. I don't like the sound of that.
Oh, yeah, we've ended it, right? I'm going to stop recording now.
Yep. Yeah, so put that up.